Hi guys, so welcome to another WonderHero video. So originally in my marketplace update video, I wanted to do a video that featured Celeste, which is considered one of the best DPS heroes in the game. But I didn't want to drag that video to be too long, so I decided to make a separate video that purely focuses on introducing Celeste. So, I'll probably link one of my previous videos here. If as you've probably seen in one of my previous videos, which is one of the best starting heroes to play. In that video, I actually featured what I believe to be another one of the best DPS heroes in the game, which is Shion Muramasa. So if you have a tier list and you put Wonder Heroes on a tier list, then Shion Muramasa is definitely S tier, and then the other S tier, and maybe even like considered like S plus, like maybe like she's considered above Shion, is Celeste. And I didn't have a chance to feature her because Celeste has always been quite expensive to buy because she has always been such a popular hero. So like because her stats are good, she used to be considered one of the best DPS heroes, and like everybody who basically when they entered the game, her Wonder Hero boxes, which I mean back then it sold for 200 USDT, like it sold out instantly, right? Because by looking at the stats of her weapon as well as her passives, you would consider her to be the best DPS hero. So okay, going straight into discussing why she is considered the best, let's look at her passive. Do I have let's look at her skill, right? So her skill, ultimate, let's look at passive first. So Celeste le Croix, Celeste le Croix, I just call her Celeste, I can't pronounce French. Celeste actually has a passive called Kindred Habitus. So Kindred Habitus it means that what it does is that at the beginning of each turn, if her hit points is above 50%, you increase her attack by 100. If her hit point is below 50%, you increase her defense and resist by 100. So both this increase, that means this 100 in attack as well as 100 in defense and resist, would last for 2 turns and it will stack at most twice. So that means if 2 turns has passed, then it means her attack will have increased by 200. So that means turn 1 she doesn't get the beginning edition. So turn 1 she'll get a buff. So instantly in turn 1 her attacks get buffed by 100. And then in turn 2 her attack get buffed to 200 because her hit points is still above 50%. So then you have a 200 free damage just based on the passive. And if you look at the equipment, like the equipment that I bought, this was around 50 over USDT when I bought it. And this has been upgraded 6 times by the previous owner, so the attack is now 200. If you look at some of the items that are in the market, let me see if I can find it actually. Okay, let's look at WonderHero market. If you go to Celeste weapon at lowest price, right? So floor price, the first two are bugged. So these two are bugged. They are somehow stuck forever in the marketplace. So the floor price for a weapon is like 30 USDT and it only has 110 damage. So imagine Celeste actually has a passive that will overtake the damage of this weapon in a mere 2 turns, right? In 2 turns, she has 200 extra damage, which is like more damage than this weapon. So effectively, you have tripled. If you are using this weapon with Celeste, that means you're using this floor price 30 USDT weapon, you have effectively tripled her DPS. The DPS would become 300 attack damage by turn 3 at the beginning of turn 2. I grab a drink there. So for example, this is actually not too bad, but it's actually sold out. Then if you look at this one, yeah, not that good as well, right? Only 115, but it's 35 USDT. So these are the floor prices for a weapon. So her passive is really, really, really good. Effectively, it doubles or like triples the DPS of a basic weapon. If you only have a basic weapon that's like around 100 to 200 damage. So obviously the one that I bought is already upgraded 6 times. That's why it's at 200 attack. But even with this 200 attack, right, basically by turn 2, her DPS is essentially doubled because from 200 her passive gives another 200, which is like another like high value weapon right equipped beside her. So you can see why people say that she's really good. Because of her passive, she gains a lot more damage than other heroes, right? Other heroes, they only have their other skills, which like maybe 100 to 200 damage from their weapon. But Celeste has 100 to 200 damage from her weapon, plus another 200 damage in 2 turns from her passive. Okay, then, so let's talk about her other abilities, right? So that is from her passive. Then let's look at her ultimate. So her ultimate actually gives lifesteal. So what it does is ultimate skill is Blood Tide, deals 100 base damage plus 100% of the caster's attack as elemental damage. So elemental damage is affected by the opponent's resist values. If the opponent has very high resist value, this elemental damage will do less damage against them. So this skill deals 10% more damage each turn. So that means as the turn passes, like you go into the game, you don't get your ultimate straight away, right? Like turn 1, turn 2, turn 3, maybe by turn 6 to turn 7, then you get your ultimate. So this skill would accumulate 10% more damage every turn. That means by turn 7, you will do 70% more damage. By turn 10, you will do 100% more damage. By turn 15, you will do 150% more damage. So if the target survives the first hit of this ultimate, you will hit it for another round of damage, for another 100 plus 100% of the caster's attack, elemental damage, and this time, the second round of damage, okay, so both turns of damage combined, right? Both the first attack and the second attack will heal the caster for 100% of the attack damage. This additional attack also deals 10% more damage each turn, so this also increases. So what this does is that basically, let's say your ultimate does like 3000 damage to all the enemies surrounding her. You can see her attack range is surrounding her in a direct radius. So you do 3000 damage to all the enemies surrounding her. You will heal Celeste for 3000 hit points. So it's a really good ultimate because it gives lifesteal. So especially when healers in the game such as Nightingale are more expensive to purchase in the earlier, like in the first month of the game, right? Now, obviously, Nightingale is a lot cheaper. If you watch my video, my video on like updating like WonderHero skins as well as weapons are on sale. So now Nightingale is a lot cheaper. But in the first month of the game, right, just to purchase Nightingale to play, you need to spend at least 200 to 200 plus USDT just to get a healer in the game. So when healers were very rare, Celeste was really, really good. But Celeste was also very expensive back then. Like Celeste also cost like 200 to 200 plus USDT like a month ago. Then now, to buy her basic weapon and her basic skin, you only cost like maybe 30 to 40 USDT. So the value has dropped significantly. So it dropped to only like 25% of its original price in the market. Yeah, so Ultimate is really good. And yeah, and well, what else can I talk about her? So basically, she has a passive that increases her damage, and she has an ultimate that does big damage around her. Oh yeah, so I want to talk about the ultimate's damage as well. So it actually does 200% damage if the target survives. So if this one, the first 100% of the attack, of the Celeste attack doesn't kill the enemy, you will do another 100% of Celeste attack. And then the total combined damage from 200% of Celeste attack will be absorbed into Celeste as hit points. So it's really good. Probably will show a little bit of gameplay. So let's take a look here. Okay, so let's look at her stats. So that's turn 1 done, right? So now it's turn 2. So if you, in WonderHero, in the game itself, when you are in the PvE matches, you can actually click on details on the bottom left of the screen when you're selecting the hero. And it actually, you're able to see the status info, like what buffs or what debuffs your hero has, what is their attack value, at that point of time, hit point, resist, defense, and everything. All the stats are there. So she increases attack by 200%. So this is beginning of turn 2, right? And she really has a 200 attack buff. If you look at my highest DPS hero now, Xion, pretty good, right? He has a 20% attack because some of her passives, but it's almost as close as damage to my Xion, and that is like 200 damage just by 2 turns. So she also has this passive where it increases attack by 5%. This is coming from a passive from her 3-star weapon. So this is a 3-star weapon, has a passive called, a weapon skill called Soul Awakening. So deals 10 plus 100% as elemental damage. So deals more damage as Celeste has less hit points. So the lower hit points Celeste goes, the more damage this weapon does, up to 50% damage bonus. So Celeste's attack also marks the target as a sacrifice. So this is triggered at most twice. So what this means is that when Celeste attacks in a radius around her, right? Let's say if there's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 enemies around her, you will only select 2 of the enemies as a sacrifice. So whenever the selected enemies considered as the sacrifice attacks Celeste, it will increase Celeste's attack by 5%. This can potentially stack up to 20 times, and you lose 3 stacks upon attacking. So unless if a lot of the sacrifices hit Celeste with multiple attacks, then you will get a lot of damage buff. But this is not as significant as this 200 points of increase by 2 turns that is part of Celeste's passive. So here it says increase attack by 5% because she got hit by one of the sacrifice. So the sacrifice here is highlighted by this red thingy on the bottom. So the number of sacrifices will increase. So let's just play this out, right? So that's one of the sacrifice. So if you see, the sacrifice stays there permanently. So if I use Celeste and attack these 3, so let's see if it increases the sacrifice. No, it does not. Maybe non-mechanical heroes don't get it. So I think non-mechanical heroes do not get chosen as a sacrifice. I would actually need to test this out more. Okay, let's try it on moving heroes. Maybe only human heroes get chosen as a sacrifice. I'm not super sure on that. Let's pass this. A caster says ultimate, which reduces the ultimate cooldown of the other heroes. Okay. So you can take a look at Celeste's ultimate here. So these enemies will probably survive because they are like wait, how many hit points? 2000, right? So I think they will survive the first hit. So you see that Celeste should get a lifesteal from this. So I'll cast her ultimate. So hits once, hits twice. So hits twice and then she gets the lifesteal from the second hit. So it's not the first 2 hits. So she only gets a lifesteal from the second hit. But you have seen that because she did 1002, 1002 on the second hit to both of the max, right? And then she gets a combined healing of 2000 plus, which is the 1002 combined together from the 2000 combined. But obviously these enemies have a passive, which once they're defeated, they actually freeze us. So we get stuck in a frozen trap, which is unfortunate. So it's annoying, but it works that way. So yeah, only human enemies I think get chosen as a sacrifice. Okay. I think my normal attacks should be able to kill them soon. Don't really need to use the ultimate here.
一刻も早く真の実戦も勉強ですよね。これが
So it's ultimate again, so that I can reduce the ultimate cooldown. Reduce the ultimate cooldown for Celeste. Okay, you can see that the attack up when the sacrifice attacks her. So if you look at her stats now, same, she has a, so it's like almost a permanent increase of 200, right, damage. Increases ultimate effect by 50, so this is Cersei's ultimate buff, increases stack by 5%. There's only one stack because she does lose stack when she loses this attack, 5% attack stack, so when she attacks the enemy. So in this case, this enemy is not going to survive the first hit from the ultimate. So since it dies in the first hit, you don't hit for a second time and then you don't get the lifesteal. Okay. So let's try her out on more human enemies, right? Let's try it on a harder stage. These are all human enemies. I think the sacrifice mechanic actually only extends to human-based enemies. Let's see. So there are 2 mechs here and then there are 4 human enemies. Let's see if I hit them with Celeste, whether they will become a sacrifice. Oh, okay. So mechs get chosen as sacrifice as well. So you can see the mech here also has a red thingy under her. So they become a sacrifice as well. I can't see whether this is selected as sacrifice or not. So let's try and hit guys here. You see, this gets selected as a sacrifice as well. So far it doesn't, so it's not restricted to just human enemies. I think mechs as well, they all get selected as a sacrifice. So my Cersei dies because she doesn't have enough she doesn't have enough hit points to tank it. Okay. So it doesn't get selected anymore as a sacrifice. I'm kind of the sacrifice mechanic, like, it's kind of mind-boggling to me. I'm not too sure how many or when they get selected as a sacrifice. Like, maybe because those earlier ones died, maybe there might be a limit. But is there a limit to how many sacrifices she can get? 3 stacks upon attacking. I'm not too sure, man. So the sacrifice mechanic, it's, yeah, that is something that I'm quite unsure of at the moment. Finish off this guy. Let's go to the second phase. Okay, so if she attacks the first one, they'll be selected as a sacrifice. Okay, so she's really low on health. So go into the whole group here and then activate Celeste's ultimate. And she should get a bunch of lifesteal from it. So let's take a look. So first stack 999 damage, in second stack 950, and then she gets a lifesteal from the second round of damage from all the 950. Probably will do one of the ultimates here. So you can see that now Celeste is like at full health, right? Okay, gonna use Link's ultimate as well. Okay, select more sacrifice? Yeah, so this gets selected as sacrifice, so that's 1, 2, 3. I don't know if there's a 5 sacrifice limit, I'm not super sure. So she hits that, she hits that. Do they get selected as sacrifice? No. It's kind of interesting. Okay. So you can see that the lifesteal from Celeste is really useful because my Shion is close to death. Oh, she's already dead. But Celeste actually barely survives because of her ultimate. Might still lose this. Let's see. See if I can win this or not. My Ling is almost dead. Okay, close, close. Because once Celeste gets her ultimate, there's a chance that she can lifesteal. That's okay, as long as she survives this. My Ling is dead, but it's fine because she has an ultimate now, so she can kill both of these guys off. Or if this guy survives, she will get a bunch of lives stolen from the surviving dude. So you can see that it does more damage, the 1426. So the guy that survives the first hit, then you hit them again for the second hit, and then you get the lifesteal from that second hit. So she got a bunch of lifesteal, and with the damage, she kills off the last remaining enemy. And why it does more damage because of the passive, where it does 10% more damage at the end of each turn. So the ultimate gets higher, it goes higher and higher up in damage the longer the game goes. So this is why, yeah, Celeste is considered one of the best DPS heroes in the game. Okay, thank you very much for watching this video. See you guys next time.